You just got your first P-SB7 spirit box in the mail, and if you're like me in the beginning, you may be wondering just how this thing works. In this video, I will be walking you through how to work a P-SB7 spirit box.
My name is Carol. Can you say my name back?
This is a picture of the newer model, and it's called AMD tuned. Okay, so the box uses both FM and AM sweep modes, and on the detuned, the power has been specifically focused on the FM side for greater FM amplification. So this provides more white noise energy through the FM band. By focusing this power in that band, the AM side should be more clear of white noise and providing greater clarity while sweeping. Okay, so the P-SB7 Spirit Box utilizes a millisecond adjustable sweep, and this is combined with a high frequency synthetic noise called white noise that's distributed between the frequency steps. So we've got the FM sweep, as I mentioned, and the AM sweep, and you'll see it right here. I've got it set to the FM 100 millisecond sweep rate, and that's actually going through all the radio bands at 1/10 of a second over each. Okay, so if you set it to the FM band, there are different rates that you can use. You can see I showed you the 100 here, and then you can go to 150, 200, 250, or set it to 300. But the thing is that the higher you set the frequency rate, the slower the sweep is going to go through all the bands. And I feel like there's more of a chance of picking up radio contamination, or what we call radio bleed through, little blips from the radio stations that could be interpreted as being a spirit voice. So I like to set it at the very fastest rate of 100 milliseconds. Now, if you were to set this to the AM band, even though it shows FM there, let's just say you set it to the AM band, and I'll show you how to do all this in just a moment. You can start at 200 milliseconds, which is the very fastest for the AM band, or go up to 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, or 500. Okay. So here's your P-SB7 Spirit Box, and it runs on 3 AAA batteries that you can install in the back. And once you've done that, then you can press your power button, which is right here, and that power button will light up a little red light up here, and you know that your box is on. Now at the same time, you should be able to press this button if it doesn't turn on already. This is the blue backlight of all your sweeps of all the stations. Now, there may be some people who don't use it, but I like to watch my spirit box sweeping, so I always make sure this is on. And so you've pressed your power button, and you know that your power is on. The next thing you're going to want to do is to choose either the AM band or the FM band. So the toggle switch for that is right here. So you can press it once for FM, and then if you want to go to AM, then you're going to press it again and it'll switch back and forth. Now over here you are with your volume, and you can really adjust it to whatever it is that you want, because when you do press the volume, a new screen will come up and it'll say L dash something, and it'll just give you different volume levels. Okay, so that's no big deal, but here we want to go over to the sweep rate. I'm going to skip this for right now. The sweep rate, which I talked about, is how fast your spirit box will sweep through all the radio bands. You know, it'll go very, very quickly, but you can adjust it. For example, again, we're on the FM right here, and here is 100 milliseconds, which I always use. I want it to go as quickly as possible because I don't want to take any chances of picking up any radio contamination. But you can set it to 100, 150, 200, and so on. Like I explained before, I always use 100 milliseconds. Now, when you switch over to the AM band, and I'm not going to be able to do it in this image, then that starts at a rate of 200 sweep rate. It'll show AM and then 200 MS, and you're going to want to have a little extra in accessories to help you with the AM band, and I'm going to explain that in just a moment. Okay, now these two buttons here that you can press are very interesting, and it's actually a matter of preference, and I don't know if it makes any difference. Now, there's one gentleman that I watch all his videos, and so these buttons actually determine whether your sweep rate is going forward through all the radio bands or if it's going in reverse. And he says that he likes to use reverse, so I picked up on that, and I always press this for a reverse sweep. Let's fix that a little bit. To me, that's a reverse sweep. So there you have all the buttons on the panel of your basic P-SB7 spirit box. Let's go to the antenna. The antenna is right at the top, and you can extend it up if you wish, but I always keep my antenna down all the way because I don't want to pick up any local radio stations and once again take the chance of picking up little bleeps and blurps from a station that I might mistake as being a spirit voice. So again, that's personal preference. We have two jacks on the side. Some people call it a discrete jack. I don't know what that means, but they are there. Here's your headphone jack, and if you want to, for any strange reason, put headphones on while you're listening, then go ahead and plug them in right there into this jack. Any kind of headphones should work. But the problem with that is if you are recording your session, which is always recommended with a separate digital recorder, then if you plug in your headphone jack, you're going to find out right away that you can't hear anything. You can only hear it in your own ears. So, you know, some people may use that just to see what voices they can pick up in real time right on the spot, and they don't care about recording the session. But there are so many voices that come up in the sweeps that are not always heard in real time. You have to really listen to them in some kind of an audio editing program very carefully to tease them out of the recording. And so I suggest that you don't plug in headphones. Now, here we get to the issue of external speakers. This is the external speaker jack right here. And basically, all that is a separate speaker that plugs into your spirit box, and it makes the session so much louder. You know, you might have teenagers, or even yourself, you may have separate little speakers that you've bought to go along with your iPods or other electronic devices, and they're not very expensive. You can pick them up at Best Buy, Office Depot. They might be $12 for one speaker, or you could go the real pricey route like I did and get the Altec Lansing speaker because I saw it on Ghost Adventures, and so I wanted to have it. All right, so if you're on your FM band and you plug in your Altec Lansing speaker and you turn it on, don't forget to turn it on because it won't work if you don't press the little button on the side, which I usually forget to do the first time around. And then it's going to be real loud, and it might just blast you out of the room. So you have to decide, you know, how you're going to do your session. And if you're in FM, maybe you don't need an Altec Lansing speaker. Maybe a smaller output speaker would be just fine. All right, but I do want to mention that if you go into the AM band, then the AM band, and I'll just type it in here just to help you. I'm in Photoshop right now, so go into the AM. Then once you're in there, you're going to realize you can barely hear anything, and this is the problem with the AM band. And that's where having this Altec speaker or a really high-powered speaker comes in handy, because it really helps you to hear what's going on with that AM band. I got to get in here because it's not making the... So once again, if you're on the AM band, then you're definitely going to want to use a high-powered speaker. And if you're on the FM band, then you may not use a speaker at all. You may just use a microphone with your digital recorder, or you may get a smaller output external speaker. You're going to have to experiment again, and you'll hear me say this many times over because I have made mistakes with having my digital recorder too close to the spirit box, not close enough to the spirit box. I've really had to experiment, but every time I do a session, and what I get from it as far as true spirit voices coming in is so exciting for me that I can't wait to do my next session, and I really have to watch to keep it from becoming a real obsession. Now I do about 3 sessions a week because I do take the sessions from the digital recorder into an audio editing program, and I listen very carefully to it. So I just don't have the time to do one every day. That brings up another question. Should you do it late at night? Should you do it in the daytime? It really is personal preference again. I have gotten some great spirit voices coming in my own living room, both in the afternoon and then mid-evening and then late evening. You know, some days I seem to get more responses than others, and I'm not sure why that is. But spirits have a life too, so they may not just be hanging around waiting for me to do a session. So there you have it. It's not all that difficult. Using it a couple of times, you're really going to get the gist of how the spirit box works.